Hello everyone, thank you for clicking the link here for the High Desert Treasure Hunters. This is going to be a second part of stage 1. When I opened the canister, it wasn't completely done. And so I showed you the different rocks, how they changed, and what I was looking for. Pretty much what we're looking for is abrupt sharpness, or if it's not completely starting to round itself off. And that's the big thing. So what happened? Did I overpack it? Did I put too many beads in? How can I tell? One way is just looking at the rocks, but also I could tell on the bottom that the grit wasn't completely used. So maybe I put too much grit, or I just didn't let it tumble, overpacked it. And so one way to do this is to get Old Miss right here. And what this does is a slurry enhancement as well as a grit carrier, so it enables your slurry to improve. So what's the benefit of that? So when you have the slurry, now you're able to carry the grit and it rubs more against the rocks. When you have this, you start polishing, you start smoothing out, and that's what I really want to see. A lot of people say, oh, it's good, it'll work itself out. But if you work itself out, eventually you might have to go back to the beginning and start roughing it again. So it's better to catch it at the beginning. But it is a personal choice. I chose to in this case, but most of the time I just let it go through. I like kind of that natural beauty, that some's really smooth, polished, but then also the very rough. So hopefully you like this, and I would like to thank Kingsley North for supplying some Old Miss for me, or Old Misser, sorry. And this is to help carry the grit, like I said. And that's the purpose of this video, is showing you, if you don't complete, what do you do? It doesn't look quite right. So what should you do? And hopefully you like, subscribe, and feel free to add comments. And that's what we really want to go after. We want to help the community. We want to help each other. So hopefully this helped you. Like, subscribe, and thank you. And please get any of your lapidary needs at Kingsley North. That's where I get mine. And I've been really impressed with them. Thank you, and thanks for watching the High Desert Treasure Hunters. We're going to open the canister right now, but let's put our safety glasses on because we don't want any of the slurry to get in our eyes. So if you shake this, you can kind of hear that it's able to freely move in there, and hopefully that's a good sign. What we're worried about is if there's extra sediment on the bottom here, all the grit settled to the bottom. We'll find out, and I'll tell you what that means in just a little bit. So to open it, undo the nut, the washer, set those off the side. Know where you put them off the side. Know my experience, I've put them off the side and wondered where I put them off the side. But you can kind of see that there is that slurry. You can see that some of the grit has not been completely used. Hopefully you can see it. But you can see it's still pre-graining. So what does that tell us? That could tell us that we overpacked it, but it doesn't look like we overpacked it. You can see this, the grit right over here on that side, but it's a lot smaller, and that's what we expect to see. So we kind of want to look at it really quick and kind of see what's going on with just a few sediment. So materials, you can see, hey, it's really not polishing the way I like it. So what is going on? One, I could overpacked it, which is a possibility. The rocks are truly harder than what I expect, which is also another possibility. And yeah, it's overpacked. I put too many beads in. Or there's a lot of variables, but overpacking is probably the most common. And then the hardness. So let's just go ahead and dump this out and see what we have. I like putting in a little strainer like this. This is where it gets really messy, and you need to have the safety glasses on. So, looking on the bottom here, you can see on the bottom there's some of the grit. That means I wasn't using all the grit fully. One is that I'm not packing it all the way, or I'm overpacking it, like I said, which is probably a possibility since I have so many minerals that I'm trying to show. And you can see right there very easily that I'm not using it all, and I'm not using it to the full effectiveness. So I will have to repack this and redo it. This is also a good time for you to just kind of understand. And I was kind of, in a way, hoping that this was going to happen so I can show you what we do. But let's look at all the other minerals really quick. I brought in this, and I like to rinse them. Some of them are looking really good, and others need some more work. And you can probably see right away which ones. So here's my tiger's eye. You can see that it does need some more work. So I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to put it in for another week. Just to show you what a difference in packing it and all the different properties. But you can see some of them are coming out pretty nice. Yeah, there needs to be a little bit more work. It's still pretty rough right here. This is the lace agate. It's starting to come out really nice. This, yeah, it needs some more work. It's still very rough, but I would probably recommend tumbling it just a little bit more, maybe even 3 days with new grit. So I'll probably check it in 3 days, videotape it, and upload that. And let's see if we can change some of the packing. Like this is starting to come out pretty nice. The fluorite, look at that. That's looking pretty good. So I might want to pull out the fluorite for the week. And let's see, where's the other one of the fluorite? This is the Moonstone. Some mushroom. And here's the fluorite. Yeah, so it's coming out pretty nice. This one has a little bit more, it probably could be worked, so maybe I can put it in. But this one, it's still pretty rough. So maybe 3 days would be probably fine for it. But you can start seeing this curve. This is what we're wanting to see. We want to see all this smoothness. Yeah, that's coming out pretty nice too. But overall, you can see that I need a little bit more. So the amethyst needs some more. Pretty much all of them really need. And the softest material, which was the fluorite, is probably doing the best, but it could probably use a little bit more work on it. And so I'll put those in and see what's going to happen. But you can start seeing a lot of the characteristics of each rock. Yeah, you can see it's rough, so it needs to be done a little bit longer. You can still see that it is improving, but still has quite a ways to go. Some people actually say it'll work itself out. If you don't feel comfortable with it working itself out, you'll have to go back to stage 1 and go back through the steps, or the previous step, and do it longer. Since this is the first step, let's go ahead and do it again. And I will pack it, and I'll show you another feature what I can do using a new material to help move the grit a little bit better. And let's see how that does. But overall, these are some pretty nice rocks. Like I said here, that edge is not as sharp, which is good, but it still needs to go a little bit further. I'm trying to separate them out so you can kind of see what's what. Oh, So in general, like, they are looking good, but not to the place where we want them. We want a lot more of the roughness worked out. We want to be a little bit smoother on the corners here. And that's what's really giving it away to me. That we need to do a little bit longer. It's getting there on this one, but a little bit longer would do it a lot of good. And I'll post this so you can see it. And thank you. Hello everyone, we're back after the misfortunate event of it not tumbling all the way, but that's expected. It's always a little surprise, but it is somewhat upsetting, but it's okay. So I wanted to show you kind of like this. It's saying it's not complete. It's finer than it was, but it's saying I'm putting too much in or I'm overpacking. I'm assuming it's probably a combination of both. That I probably didn't need to put as many beads in, and I could have probably tumbled a bit longer. But I'm going to show you a product to kind of help with this and help move the material. So I kind of wanted to show you what that looked like. And now we're going to go to filling our canister. But before we do that, I want to show you the minerals. And they're underwater. You see that bead kind of floating around, that's fine. But what I'm looking for is this edge, these edges. Are they chipping away? Is this being smooth enough? Yeah, I can probably get a little bit more off with the next stage, but I think there could be a little bit more done because we want a good, shiny, finished product. This edge, it's starting to smooth. It's not sharp like it was. It's getting there, but a little bit longer will do it quite well. So I rinse these off, and so what I'm looking for also is there any extra grit or anything like that that shouldn't be there, and brush it off. I already did that, and there really wasn't any. You grab your canister, and like I said before, put a little bit of beads on the bottom. I'm trying not to fill it up as much as I did before. And these beads have been rinsed off, so I don't have that extra grit. And you want to make sure the beads stay with the grit. You don't want to put them to different grits because it will carry that coarser grit to the finer grit. And it can just mess up your whole batch. You won't have a nice polish. Now grab some rocks. Start throwing them on the bottom. And we're going to pack it the same way, or a similar way. Right away, you could probably already tell that they did get a little bit smaller, which is great. That's what we want to see. That's saying what it's supposed to. But I want to show you the fluorite a little bit closer. This is getting there. It's getting very close. Yeah, I think there could be a little bit more even on these, especially like when you look in here. Yeah, the next phase probably will clean that up a little bit, but it will do good just to do a little bit more. Let's put a little bit more beads in. And then we'll put a little bit of grit sticking to me. And I'll put the same amount of grit as before. It's better not to use the grit in the process. Than not have enough and it's just the rocks grinding against themselves. Okay, let's put a little bit more beads. So this is kind of what it's doing. It's sticking to me. Not my intent, but that's just how it is. Let's put our next 2 tablespoons in. So like I said, I like putting 3. If you put 4, I feel like that's an overkill. And we will see with the next one, if it is an overkill, and I could have probably gone without the third one. But then there's also this product, Old Meezer. And so what this is a lapidary grit carrier, a suspender for the grit. And you don't need much. It's on the teaspoon order. For like this whole canister, all you really need is like a teaspoon. It looks like this cocoa kind of. And so what it's going to do is it aids in making the slurry. And that's what we want at this phase. Since we didn't finish the polish, but we're kind of beyond the first stage, but we're not quite to the second stage. So what we want to do is try to get this suspended a little bit quicker and push it all the way through. And try to get a good polish, hopefully by the 3rd or 4th day. So most of the time they say you should minimum do a week per step. And I did that. This is 1 week. And you saw the results. But these materials are a lot harder than the normal ones I use. They're 8s, 7 to 8s on the scale. And so it's a little bit more than what I'm used to. I'm used to doing around 5, like the malchites, the coppery type stuff. And those are a lot softer. Alright. That's probably good. I didn't put as much beads in as last time. I still have my little strainer over here with beads in it, as you can see. And now I want to fill it up with water. And I probably don't want to put as much water in because I want to make that slurry. So let's leave it there. And we button up the hatches again. Make sure these beads go down. If they stay in this rim here, it's not good. And if there's any grit, make sure you get that grit. I cannot stress that enough because I have done that so many times that I forget to knock the grit in, and then all of a sudden there's no water in it. Since I live like in a desert climate, I don't see it. It pretty much evaporates off. So put that. Sorry about that. My light just fell over and decided to turn off. And so do the typical. Let's get these beads out. And there we have it. Like I said, I do it. I'll put it on its side for a little bit just to make sure it's staying and it's not leaking. And putting it on a towel like this will be great because I can see it really easily. So thank you, and hopefully you found this valuable. Please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps us a lot. And please, adding good constructive criticism on what could be done better, or ask questions. We all are a community. We all want to help each other. So let's do that. Just good criticism and good advice, saying whatever you have noticed that really helps everyone. And thank you. Please like, subscribe to High Desert Treasure Hunters. Thank you.